Hello, viewers. We welcome you again to this episode on the Pew and the Pulpit, coming to you live from Anglican Church of the Holy Spirit here in the Bronx. With me in the studio today is a legal practitioner, one of the finest of the Anglican Church, an Anglican member, committed Christian, I would say a child of God. Adding to that, she's also a legal practitioner, like barrister. So I have with me in the studio Barrister Oluchi Abanyim. She'll be talking to us about immigration and possible ways of migrating or visiting the U.S. How are you, Barrister?
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Man of God, I'm happy to be here. Pleased to have you.
Thank you for coming. It's our pleasure. We are delighted to have you in this program.
Thank you.
And fortunately, you are the first female that is featuring in this program. Guys, what are we saying?
I'm privileged.
So she's privileged to be the first female on the Pew and the Pulpit. I want to know, what are the possible ways to come to the U.S. legally?
There are many ways. Most of our people back home already know this because the U.S. is one of the most interesting and beautiful places that people like to come to for different reasons. And depending on the motive, because it's the motive that determines, where it will be classified. If you're coming as an immigrant or non-immigrant. First, to talk about the non-immigrant one, which is usually the most common one and easier, like if you're coming to visit or if you're coming to study, things that are temporal, that have a fixed time, that, hey, I'm coming to do this, and at the end of that, you're expected to leave. Mm-hmm. So if you're coming to visit for as a tourist or to vacation or visit a relative or friend or whatever, is usually, you're expected to, you'll be granted that visa called the B1 or B2. That's the one that is one of the most common. And if you're coming to study, there are different visas. There's the F, the M, and the J visas. And mind you, some of them, like the FJ, you can come with your family also. And for example, hey, daddy or mommy is going to study in the US, and daddy needs to take, the wife and the children. They also fall under, for the F, for example, they fall under like the F2 or F3, and they have different categories for those where your dependents can fall under and they can come, So, but in essence, the non-immigrant is the visas are issued for those specific things and duration of time, and after that you're expected to go back. On the other hand, the immigrant visa is you're saying, I want to relocate permanently, I want to now go and live there, and it's different. And it depends also on the category, on the motive or the reason. Like, say, I'm going to join my family, my wife is there, my husband is there, or my children is there, or my parents are there. So it depends on that also, in which case it's called the family-based, And then it could also be that you're working for an organization, that a company in the U.S., and they're saying, you have to come over here, we need your services. And so for work-based, employment-based, yes, that's another reason to come and leave. So these are, some of the ways to come to stay, and that is the immigrant visa. So it depends on what is it, what is the motive, what are you coming to do? That's what determines where it will be classified.
Wow. The barrister have really, really opened our eyes to what and how many kinds of visa. Now, I want to push you a little further to talk to us about visiting visa. How can one apply for visiting visa? How does it work? How does it work with the U.S.?
Oh yeah, sure. The visiting visa is the B1, B2 visa. Like I said, a lot of people are very familiar with this already. And before in Nigeria, they used to grant like 2 years standard, but now I understand it's 5 years. However, it depends also on the discretion of the officer. You know, whoever interviews you or issuing you the visa, they can choose to give you days. Like say you say, okay, I want to attend a conference, and this conference is for 1 week. They can choose to give you just for that 1 week. You know, so there's no mandate on them that it must be that 5 years or some. But the main process is whatever it is you're going for. Let's say you just want to visit, so in which case you don't really need, or you're going for vacation, you're going to stay in a hotel, tour as a tourist, you don't need an invitation, because in some cases, if you're going to visit someone, you might need the person to, like invite you. But it's not always the case. If you don't have anybody, you'll be like, I have the money to pay for myself. I want to go see beautiful places.
Oh, so people can actually come to the U.S. without anybody inviting them?
If you're going to visit, if you're going as a tourist, who is inviting you as a tourist? Not necessarily, it mustn't be. But I mean, if you're going to visit someone specifically, you will need that. You need the invitation, from that person.
Or maybe an organization is inviting you for a conference.
Exactly. Yes, definitely.
But if you come in on your own.
Exactly. Like I want to tour, go to New York. I want to go to specific places and spend time.
Go to Manhattan and see things for yourself.
Absolutely. So you first of all have to fill out the form. The DS-160, I believe. Okay. You fill that out, you pay the fee in the bank, and then you come back and schedule also on their website, schedule your interview dates. The problem people have been having recently is that it takes a lot of time before you can get a date. Before it used to be within 3 months, but now it takes a lot of time. It can take over a year or so. I don't know if they're doing something about it. I understand recently the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria changed their system, so I don't know if that's going to make room for more efficiency or improve the duration of time that people have to wait before they get in. I don't know yet. I haven't followed up with that, but I know that there's a change that is going on now, I think between now and by next month or so. So when you do all that, when you schedule an interview, you will go. Like if you're going for a conference, you have to go with the documents. Like you have to go with the invitation of the conference. You have to, if you've reserved your hotel, you need to go with all that to prove to them. And you have to go with proof with a bank statement or so to show that if the organization that is inviting is going to pay for you, then you probably don't have to worry. Yes. But if not, if you're paying for yourself, you need to show them, prove that, hey, I have enough resources to pay for what I'm going for, to take care of myself. You're
not going to be a liability to the government.
Exactly. That is what, one of the things that they care. They rather you spending money investing in them than taking, out. So, yeah, and then to bear in mind that for the visiting visa, as much as it's say like 5 years now, and they give you 5 years, you're not saying go sit down there for 5 years. If it's visiting means
it's
visiting,
not
exactly. It's you're spending a short period of time because you're expected to have work or business or something that you're doing that you will go back to. So you're not saying I'm going there to stay permanently, because you have to be very mindful of that, and that's where people get into trouble often. If you're given like 5 years and you go and spend beyond 6 months at a time, beyond 6 months once within that 5 years, you already become, you create problem for yourself. When you leave, exactly, when you overstayed, because you can always go and come back as many as you want within that 5 years, as many times as you want. But you have to bear in mind that for each visit, you cannot exceed like 6 months or so at once. Once you do, when you leave, you will find it difficult to come back. And you don't want to create problems for you, especially if you're someone who always want to go. There are people who, they're not interested in living here. They just want to go for vacation every year.
Do some shopping.
Exactly. They just want to visit, But if you mess that up, and then it becomes difficult, it can take many years for you to be awesome.
I understand it's up to 10 years.
Oh yeah, sometimes the penalty
2 years,
can be
3 years of 10 years, depending on the length of the overstay.
It might drag, and you may not be able to.
I may never even visit again.
Yeah, so Yeah, so that's, how the visiting one works.
So, yes, I know that most people will be looking for visas to come. Are they allowed to work with visiting visa?
No, they're not. Because that's why you're meant to visit and leave. If you want to work, that's a different thing. You have to, be allowed to work. Even as a student, you're not just allowed to work anywhere. That's one of the things people don't do. You can't just come when you're in school, you work. You'll be allowed to do a certain number of hours within the school. The school can give you like a side job to do, and it's meant to be within a certain, like I said, I think 20 hours a week or something like that. And then you're not meant to work outside. For you to work outside, you have to get the permission,
yes.
for the authorization to do that. Otherwise, you create problems for yourself. So visiting, no, you're not. Doesn't mean that people don't work. When you see people who came and worked, bear in mind that, they did that like under the table and stuff. And I always advise people, you don't do things because people are doing it. You try to always do the right thing legally. And
because
then,
you may not be lucky.
Exactly. That A came and did some
and
job
the big
for
brother
3
is always
months
watching.
A came, made some money, and then went back and happy. Oh, I went when I worked here, not. And you're like, oh, okay, I can. But, you have to be careful, because if you're caught doing that, then you're creating problems for yourself. So, no.
It could be a grant for denial of entry.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Or maybe they may not renew your visa.
Sure.
The next time you go for renewal.
And then another thing is, if you're exceeding the time that they're giving you, if you want to exceed 6 months, within like say or 5 years, you still have, you're given 5 years. You just came to visit, and you spent like 5 months, and you don't want to leave because there's a reason why you don't have to. You have to write them. Let them know that, hey, I know I'm here on visiting visa and I'm not expected to exceed so time, but this is the reason why I have to stay. Then, if they approve it, if you justify it and approve it, then you can stay beyond that 6 months. But if they deny it, then you have to leave. Because if you don't, also you're creating problems for yourself.
Wow. Now, when you were talking, I heard you talk about students, and I'm interested because I know back in the days, people from the US would go to Nigeria to study. Universities like University of Ibadan, UNN, Unilag, and so many of them, most American whites studied. In those days, Nigeria was like America. I don't know what happened, and I don't want us to go into whatever that happened. Whatever that happened has happened. Now, the reverse is the case. The Nigerians now come to America to study. That is where we are now. So, having said that, I believe there are many Anglicans, and of course, many of our viewers that would like to study in America, maybe for some reason, believing that the American system of education is better. I don't know about that. I don't know if that is true. I don't know from which school of thought is coming. But one thing I do know, you will study under an AC room. There will be a condition in your class. So at least that makes it a little better.
Yes,
so tell us, how can students come to America to study?
So there are 3 main categories that bear in mind also that the student visa is non-immigrant. You're not coming to relocate. When you're applying for a student visa, you're saying, I want to go and study this, which also have a specific duration, depending on, it could be 3 years, it could be 2 years, it could be 1 year, So there's the F visa, the J visa, the M visas. Most of them, although they are different in a bit, the F and M are similar. The J is a little bit different. Is the exchange visitor. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, that it requires you to go back when you're done. That's why it's the exchange. You're meant to take back the knowledge that you acquired back to your home country and put it in there for at least 2 years before, if you want to go back again. So, but the application process in Nigeria is similar in that first and foremost, you must secure the admission. You must secure that admission in the school of what you're going to study. And that starts with your own personal research. You know what it is you want to study. You find the school that you're interested in. You go through the application process. And when you're offered the admission, then you can now start the process of applying for the visa, which is in the first steps are similar to that of the visiting as well. You must also complete the online form, the DS-160. You must complete it. You pay the fee. The fees is different. The fees for the student visa and the visiting visa, I understand. I think it's slightly, that it's not too much apart, but there's a slight difference, which you get that information on the embassy website, of course. And when you apply, you also schedule the interview. However, when you're going, unlike the visiting visa where you need far less documents, for the student, you need a lot more documents. For example, you definitely need both your school admission letter and you need the service, that the school has issued you pay for, and then they issue it to you. You're going with those to the embassy because whoever is interviewing you might want to see the proof that really, yes, you've secured the admission, you've concluded that process, including the funding. Very key. If, for example, you have a scholarship, then you don't have to worry because they already offered the scholarship, you don't have to pay. But if you're paying, then you have to show proof that you have the money. You've either paid some part of it or something, or even if you're allowed to pay when you get here, then you have a proof. And people have to be careful of scam because recently I've had 1 or 2 cases where some people pay certain amount and then they are denied visa and they can't go again and stuff like that, and then to get a refund, or they pay to the wrong cross. You have to be very careful. Deal directly only with the school. If you're expected to pay certain things before coming, you have to be sure, verify from the school that what you're paying is the right channel. So if you're paying for yourself, you must go the bank account that shows either in your personal name or whoever is sponsoring you. It could be your parents, it could be a relative, it could be an organization, whatever, but you have to prove that money, you have it. So you go with all those documents, including like transcripts or your certificates or whatever you have. I always tell people, be over prepared. It's better you're over prepared and you're not asked those things than you're asked and you don't have them, because you can never say at the embassy, let me go back home and go and bring it. You don't have that chance. If you ask, oh, can I see this, and you don't have that document, it becomes a problem. So be over prepared, go with all those documents. And then, when you're granted the visa, then when you come is for that period of time. Let's say your program is 2 years, they're going to be giving you about that 2 years. And of course, when you finish, you're expected to leave. Remember I said for the J visa is exchange visa. After the studies, you're meant to leave. I think you're not meant to exceed either 30 days or 60 days thereabouts.
After studies?
Yes, you're meant to leave and put in 2 years. Similar thing with the F visa. However, for the F visa, it has the option of what they call the OPT, the optional protocol, which is like an internship phase. Immediately after school, once you get it, you're allowed to stay for like 1 year and work. For that period, you're fine. You can work only in that place where you're assigned to work. And then when you're done, you can leave. So that's the OPT. And then when you want to change your status, it's a different thing altogether.
I understand our time is fast spent. I know definitely we will invite you again in this program, because this topic is one topic our people will want to. I know a lot of people will be interested. Like I said, many people want to come for vacation in the U.S. A lot of people want to come study. A lot of pastors want to come work in the U.S. So having said that, I know we cannot go into details. The program is just 20 minutes. I hope when next we invite you, we'll be able to talk about that. But can you talk to us a little bit about immigrant visa before we go?
Yes, so the immigrant visa has different categories. There is the family-based, which entails if you're either coming to join your spouse or your parents or your children or sibling. That is one. Then there is the different merit-based, employment-based. Either there is the EB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first three, the EB 1, 2, 3, are mostly for those who are coming because they have exceptional abilities. They are scholars, they are researchers. maybe you have a PhD or a master's in a field, you're established, you've written extensively, or you've invented something, and you're proving to the US government that, hey, I have this experience, I'm going to bring, to the table to benefit the US. So that is, and then the 4, I believe, is where the religious comes under, and then the 5, the EB5, is where you're coming as an investor. You have like at least from $500,000 and above, you're coming to invest it in the US. So that is, and then there is a humanitarian one, which includes the asylum as well. So these are some of the I think the major ones, areas that people can. If you have a job, that falls under E and EB2, I believe, EB2 and 3.
I believe if you have money, you can also come to the US. So
yeah, that is the EB5. That's when
EB5.
if you're coming to invest.
Invest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're coming to invest.
So viewers, we are very, very delighted to have Barrister Oluchi Agbayanyim in our program today, like I said. And she has discussed extensively, at least, even though she did get deeper. It's a very broad topic. Immigration, like I understand, is a topic that we can take the whole day and we can't even finish it. But for the period of time that she has at least thrown light to how you can come to the US. We hope to invite her again so she can continue from where she stopped today. But meanwhile, don't forget, the 1st of September is our 50th anniversary, and you are invited. You are also welcome to be part of that celebration. Thank you, and God bless you. Hey, I welcome you to the Pew and the Pulpit, coming to you live from the Anglican Church of the Holy Spirit, Bronx, New York. The address is 3840 Seaton Avenue, off 233rd Street, when going towards the highway. And the address is, the zip code is 10466. 10466. Our email address is Anglican Church of the Holy Spirit @yahoo.com. Email us at Anglican Church of the Holy Spirit @yahoo.com. The phone to reach the church by phone, 929-944-3424. 929-944-3424. Come, we worship every Sunday at 11 a.m. It's just a 2-hour service. We are a live and happening church here in the Bronx, New York City, and in the center of New York City. And we are a welcoming congregation. We worship in English. All is welcomed, but we do not believe in gay marriage. So don't come expecting to be wedded in our church, because it's not part of our tradition. We are part of CONAM. CONAM is Church of Nigeria Mission in North America. So we're a full-fledged Church of Nigeria Mission here in America. Come and be blessed. Thank you.